Good morning. Wow. They're making me be up here, and I don't like it because I can't see you guys. So I'm so happy you're here. This is wonderful. It's just a wonderful event, and I cannot tell you how honored and privileged we are to have you join us this weekend. And I really pray that God will meet you wherever you are and give you whatever you need before you leave. So this morning, I do want to talk about a simple thing that we can all relate to. And it's basically the power of our words that we speak. Just the power in our words in general. So if I want to start by saying, you ladies are absolutely amazing. Every one of you is so beautiful and gifted, and God has given you so many things, qualities and talents and ability to help one another. Your mind is like a rock, and you're just filled with God's presence, and wherever you go, you just bring life to others. Or I can say, you women are horrible. Every one of you, you just don't have anything to offer. It's terrible. You're horrible, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this or that. And when you even hear those words, even in jest, I don't even want to say it, right? It just makes you cringe, like something happens in your spirit. You're like, ugh. And then especially like Terry, if you heard those things when you were younger, they really hurt. You really start to believe those things about ourselves. So this morning, I just want to take the few minutes that I have, and please keep me on track, guys. And I want to just talk about the power of the spoken word. And it's interesting that the whole theme, like even Rita's song, some of the verses talked about the power, the wind. I don't remember the exact verse it was, but it said the wind, heard the power of my lips, and things change. And the most that we ever hear the words are from ourselves. And I can't tell you how many times I catch myself saying things about myself to myself. My husband will get mad at me because he'll say, stop saying that. Why do you say that about yourself? Like, I'm so clumsy. And the more you say that, guess what? You're going to be clumsy. I'm fat or I'm stupid. And you talk to yourself about it. And the more you hear something, the more real it becomes. Over and over and over, you hear something, and all of a sudden you embrace it. It's like, oh yeah, that must be true. I hear it all the time in my head. And the Word of God says that the tongue has the power of life and death. When we speak something, there is power that goes forth. And actually, scientifically, they believe, this quantum physics, I don't even want to get into it because it's complicated, but they believe that when you speak, the word has like a vibration. It's powerful, like a real thing, like something tangible. And it actually transfers through the water. And since our bodies are 60 approximately % water, there's actually an effect, a physical effect of the word. So if you listen to this worship music like we heard this morning, powerful singing by Rita, what does it do to your heart? It makes us feel peaceful. It makes us weep, but it's more tears of joy. It makes us feel, loved, and we feel amazing. But then what if we put on like some heavy metal music talking about killing people and killing kids, and that just offends us, and that gets inside of us. I was reading about stress recently, and I know my husband has mentioned many times that 50% of illness comes from stress. But the truth of the matter is it's more like 70 to 90% stress. Now, how does stress happen? We always say, oh my God, I'm stressed today, or I feel stress, or I'm allowing stress. But there's always going to be stressors in our life. Especially as women, we have so many things going on in our life that pull at us in so many ways. And stress is always going to be there. Our kids can stress us out, our jobs, our family, our husbands, our dog, mowing the lawn, whatever it is. We have those stressors that we need to deal with. Now, how do we do it? Basically, if we allow stress inside, that's when it starts to affect us. So we hear a conversation and we overhear someone talking about us, and it's not a nice thing. And that happens. So we listen to the words, we start meditating on them, and they start getting in our spirit, and then we start feeling bad about who we are. We start feeling bad about ourselves. We don't like the person that said it. We start getting angry, and then all these emotions cause stress. And they're actual things that happen at the cellular level that cause our body to go into this fight or flight. And when that happens, it all happens in the brain and in your body. Cortisol is released. And when cortisol is released, sugar is available. And this can wreak all kinds of havoc in our body. And this is a fueled thing, and it's almost like this machine that won't stop. And many times we don't even realize we're stressed. Sometimes you don't even feel it necessarily, but it's going on inside of us. And what does the Bible say about our meditation? It says meditate on good things. In the Bible, it says here what? It says in Philippians 4, think on things that are true, noble, pure, lovely, excellent, things that are praiseworthy, things that are wonderful. There's always going to be stress that either we bring it upon ourselves, or we hear it, or it's a storm coming. And it's funny because my husband and I were sitting in the living room the other day, and it was a bad storm. And I don't like lightning. I don't know why. I get really afraid of it. I think something must have happened when I was younger. And every time it lightning, I knew the thunder was coming, and I would just like, and he goes, stop doing that. You're allowing that to get inside of you and cause fear. And I'm like, but I'm really afraid. He goes, you just have to practice being peaceful. You just practice it while the thunder and lightning are happening. So we have to practice not letting stuff get inside our spirit to do cellular changes that actually are making us sick and die from all kinds of diseases. I mean, it's funny how we spend a lot of time worrying about what we eat. And honestly, I'm into eating healthy. I really am, but feel like I've come full circle. And the truth of the matter is, it's not about what you eat that's going to make you healthy and well. It helps. It's good to eat a healthy diet, fruits, vegetables, and basically all the things that God has created for us to eat. But sometimes you just got to eat the donut. You know? You do. You know, I made them bring me a donut because I wasn't going to get down there for the donut. And I also got a scone this morning, too, which is sitting right there, which I'm about to eat right after this. So, no, really, you do. You cannot. See, if you're gluten-free or whatever, keto, whatever diet you're doing, if you're happy with it, and when you walk by a bakery, you do not hear anything calling you, then you're good. Okay, I'm not good. So when I walk by Scratch, I can't not go in the bakery where the scones came from. And if there's chocolate, I have to have it. So I can't live life not having the things that make me happy because that stresses me out more. That does not mean you should have 3 donuts. It's all about balance. It really is, because then we'll live longer and prosper and have a wonderful life. But I want to encourage you this morning to really take just a stock of what we say. If you listen to yourself in a given day, you will be surprised. I was doing this the last couple of days because I've been doing an experiment, trying not to say anything negative. Oh my God, I can't believe how many negative things I think about. Like, I'll look at a group of people and I will just zero in on the negative thing. And I do not like that about myself. And I don't know if I was trained that way or whatever it is, or maybe because I want everything organized or perfect. But it's really not a good thing. I want to look at everything and see, oh my God, look how beautiful, look how wonderful this is, and not notice the little weeds or the extra 5 pounds or the big nose or I hate my hair or You know what it is? Because a lot of times we focus on, I wish I had curly hair, I wish I had straight hair, or I hate my hair, I hate my thighs. Why did God give me these thighs? You know, I would be happy if I just didn't have these thighs. And the truth of the matter is, even if you get your thighs fixed or run 50 miles a day and get rid of them, you still won't be happy if that's what you're focusing on. People aren't going to see your thighs, they just see you. They see the beauty. And if we can look at each other that way and not judge, because we don't know the full story. Like, I never even knew Terry's full story. It's really powerful. So if Terry has a moment where she's not being her wonderful Terry, instead of judging, because I don't know the whole story, I should have grace and say, you know what, maybe there's something that happened in her life that caused her to react this way to a certain situation. But because I don't know, I can't sit here high and mighty, like what's going on in the news today, and pretend that I don't have anything in my yearbook. I think everyone should submit their yearbooks. But anyway, I'll move on. So as women, our most important role is an encourager, I believe, to encourage one another, to encourage our children, encourage our husband. We're nurturers the way God created us. So if we are not encouraging, because encouraging someone basically means you are imparting courage to them. You are giving them courage. So like Rita was saying yesterday, what's the opposite of that? It's discouraging. And when we discourage someone, it's a horrible thing. It's like gossip. Okay, I was going to talk more about gossip, but I don't like that subject very much. And the more I studied gossiping, I realized that we all do it to some extent. So I really tried these last few days. Whenever someone said to me, have you heard? And unless it had something to do with food or clothes, I didn't want to hear it. I was like, nope, I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to say anything, nothing. Because basically what gossip is telling someone else something about someone that you don't have any authority to say. You don't have their permission, and most likely it's not true. But yet, gossip gives us this, like, it's kind of like, you know, when something happens and you just want to be the first one to tell someone? I don't know why. In a good way, though. You know, like something happens, oh, did you see? These are wannabe Valentino shoes, by the way. Clearance rack. They're not Valentinos at all, DSW, just in case. But now I lost my train of thought. I forgot where I was. Oh, so the news. Right, so you want to just say, oh, have you heard so-and-so came out with a new thing, or this and that, or did you see the latest runway clothes, or whatever. But you don't want to be the person. But that makes you feel like you get like a high from it. Like, well, I was the first one to tell everyone. They didn't know. But you get that same high when you gossip. And that's why people do it, because it actually is rewarding in a way. But it's evil. It's an evil thing. Because in the Bible, gossip, you know, I left my phone down there, and I had actually a lot of scripture. But I'm just going to say it. I don't need it. So the Bible classifies, when it goes through sin, it actually has murder and strife, and then it has gossip. And I'm thinking, jeez, it's in the same sentence. God must think really highly of this for us not to do it. He lists it right after murder. I can't. So we're actually thinking, well, I don't sin, I'm not as bad, and we don't even realize sometimes that we involve ourselves in gossip. So I really want to encourage us all today to really think about the things that we say and to who we say them to. Because we are going to have aught with one another occasionally. And if we can just go to someone and humble ourselves and say, you know, I said something about you to someone, I just want to apologize, and maybe let's us work it out. And once you hear their explanation, many times it clears up the whole matter. But the communication is a problem because we don't say what we really mean. Because many times we don't know how to say things right because we get offended too easily and we say things harshly. We don't really listen. God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth. that makes me think that we doubly listen and speak less. You know, when I grew up in Yonkers, I grew up in South Yonkers, and I had a group of friends, and the common word was the F word. So it became part of my natural and normal vocabulary. I didn't think anything of it. So in the middle of a sentence, there would have been 3 or 4 F words. But that's just the circles I was in, and that carried on till I met my husband. And I was still saying the F word. So what happened was, we would go out in other circles with people that didn't say the F word. So now, I didn't know what to say, because I thought, surely it's going to pop out somewhere. So it was awful. So I would say nothing. So we would go out with people, and I would literally sit there and say absolutely nothing the entire night. And he would kick me under the table, like, they're asking you a question, like. But I was afraid that thing was going to come out in front of people. You know, it's horrible. But what I did learn about that whole experiment is that when I did begin to speak again, I spoke very carefully. I really monitored what I said. I didn't just say whatever. I thought about it. I listened and really listened to what someone was saying. And then I really considered what I was going to say back. I didn't just, you ever just say stuff and I'm like, why did I say that? You know, you can't ever take it back. Once it's out there, the power of the word, it just settles in you. Things we say to our children, we can't ever get them back. When you're angry and your kids get you angry, don't say anything. Just sit there and go, you know, duct tape, whatever, and just give yourself a moment. Because we say things in anger sometimes that are so hurtful. And I've done it. I'm guilty of it myself. When someone hurts us, we feel justified to say something. And then, worst of all, we tell other people, do you know what they did to me? Or let's pray about this person. Meanwhile, all we did was tell them all about their problems. And I ask God to forgive me, because we do it and we don't mean to do it, and we do it because we're hurt. So that's why it's so important that we guard our ears and our heart, because the spoken word is not just the spoken word, it's also the written word. We have to protect ourselves from what we read, the kind of music we listen to. Now, I like country music, and I do listen to it, but I also mainly listen to Christian music. Why? It's not even necessarily I like the beat better, it's because it's speaking life into me. In my car, it's speaking something. It's saying forgive. It's saying to do this. It's saying to, be joyful. No matter what I'm going through, because when that stress tries to get inside of me, the best thing to do is to worship God. Just stop everything, turn the music on, or just pray out of your spirit and praise God, because all that yuckiness can't live with praise. Praise gets rid of all of it. It just fills us with love, and all of a sudden, now we can go over. That's why in church service, when it's over, it's the best time to go forgive someone. Because you feel good about yourself. You're filled with praise. You're filled with grace. And now you can go out and say, forgive me, or just let someone know that you forgive them, whatever it is. We need to be filled with grace for one another, because it is so easy to be offended. And I don't know how much time I have. Is anyone keeping my time? I forgot when I started. Okay, cool. Thank you. So I want to talk a little bit more about how our words affect us and our kids and our families and everyone around us. So I want us to do an experiment. How many of you have the Bible app on your phone? And I can't see, I really apologize. Well, a good number of hands are up. So if you don't have the Bible app, it's free. If you want to get the Bible app, I use the Bible app on my phone because you can read the Bible wherever you are. You can pull it up on your phone. But the main thing I want you to do is I want you to pull up an app, and it's in my phone. It's called Gossip. Can you give me my phone? I'm sorry. Anyway, it's in the app, in the Bible app, whenever you're wanting to study something, say you want to study about gossiping or about love, you can pull any of those things up on the Bible app to study them, and there's all these little devotionals. Some of them are really short, like 3 or 4 days, some of them are longer, but they're really powerful because I like short things because then I can remember easier. So this one, let me find it because I put it in my notes. Okay, so my husband told me not to do this because he said I don't like people fumbling with electronics that they don't know what to do. So I guess if you're over 30, you shouldn't do this. So I don't know where it is in there, but it is in there. And I will get it to you later. Anyway, if you just put gossip in the search, it'll come up. And I read through the thing. It was a 6-day-long devotional, and I read through it in about 10 minutes. And I basically fell on my knees, and I asked God to forgive me for allowing myself to be deceived into thinking I was not participating in gossip. And it was some of the simplest things, because gossip isn't saying, hey, have you heard what so-and-so did and didn't do? It was, you know, why is she wearing that yellow shirt? It's totally not her color. And I do that all the time. That's not necessary. Why does that matter, what shirt they chose to wear? That doesn't change anything about the person, nothing. And then we sit here and judge people, we disqualify them, and then we harbor stuff, and it sort of makes us feel better about who we are. And it's a really bad place to be in. And then we speak those things out. And when we speak gossip, we hear it ourselves, and it gets in us. Even if it's not about us, we're speaking it about someone else, it gets inside our spirit. So the more that we gossip, the more it actually affects you in a negative way. So I really want you guys to pull that up, and I also want you to listen to this because I do have to bring the theme into and this one I do have on my phone. So I wanted to bring this theme, and I was thinking about this when they were talking about flowers. It says, a flower does not think of competing with the flower next to it. It just blooms. And so this morning, ladies, I really just want to encourage us, because I don't want to go over my time, to be very mindful of our words, to just take a careful, just catalog what we're saying throughout the day, or ask someone else to help you. Like I asked my husband to help me. I said, tell me when I'm complaining about something, because you don't hear it after a while. You don't even realize you're doing it. You don't realize you're judging. You don't realize you're criticizing. And when it gets in you, it becomes part of your personality, and it's really hard to get it out. So you know how we'll do a fast with food to lose weight, or to be spiritual, or whatever we want to do? We can do a word fast and literally take a day, even, I don't even know if some of us can do hours without talking. But if you really do, I did this, I tried to do this over the last couple of days. I did a word fast, and I really just stopped talking. But I stopped listening to music and the TV and everything, because I didn't want any words in my head. And I just sat there. Even I did things. I wasn't just sitting, because who has that kind of time many times? I did stuff. I was cleaning around the house and doing laundry, but I said nothing. And my tendency was to turn music on or to put the TV on and constantly have something going on in my head. And I wanted to be clear of that. And when I did that, it was amazing. It's like all of a sudden, the clarity of God's voice, it was amazing, because so many times there's too much noise that goes on in our head, and we cannot hear what God is trying to say to us. So if you just do that, do this Bible app thing, and just read that thing about gossip. And I'm not saying it to heap condemnation on anyone. I just want us to see the simplest things that we participate in that is so hurtful. to others, but mainly to ourselves. Because you know what? Whatever we sow, we reap. So that's a law. Whatever you do, it's going to come back to you somehow. So don't we want to be gracious so when we need grace, we'll get it? Don't we want to love so we'll be loved when we're not being lovely? And don't we want to just encourage and say, you're just amazing. Now, we're not perfect, and we're not trying to just say compliments that are not true. But there is always something about someone that you can say something good about, always. And we all have things about us that we wish people wouldn't notice. And so if we don't notice it, then they won't notice it. So I encourage you today, let's think about our words and our thought life and how it affects us, not just when we go out, like Rita was saying yesterday, you know, what is your burn? Like, what is it that happens when you walk in a group of people or you walk in a room? What happens to the people? Do they run and say, oh my God, here she comes? Because when you're around someone that you know is always going to complain and gossip, it drags you down. You know, when you leave that person, you feel horrible. You're like, oh, you almost feel like you have to take a shower. And so you don't want to be that person, nor do you want to be around that kind of person, only for short periods of time to help them. You want to walk in the room and people say, oh my God, I want to go talk to them because they encourage me, because they walk in the room and life walks in, because they walk in the room and grace walks in. They walk in the room and mercy, forgiveness, love, purity, kindness. Let's be all that. Let's be that, okay? Thank you, guys. God bless you all. Thank you.